I want you to succeed at things that you never thought were possible, and I want you to fail at things that you never thought were possible. But I just want you to take that failure and move forward.
This morning we're going to talk about the image of black men in our society. Black men are 6 times as likely as white men to be murder victims. They are 2.5 times as likely to be unemployed. They finish last in practically every socioeconomic measure from infant mortality to life expectancy. And some think that black men in America seem almost an endangered species. It's interesting that many people perceive black men as less intelligent, less productive, more hostile than the rest of society. We thought it would be interesting to confront these stereotypes. We have with us this morning to share their insight 3 very interesting men. Ishmael, how do you feel?
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, surprise.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to the Imperfect podcast. I am your host, El Ray. Like I said, we're going to have a little bit of fun throughout these weeks. Last week, we talked a little bit about Costa Rica. This week, we're going to talk a little bit about Africa, as well as just some other social things going on. We obviously want to kind of answer these misconceptions that everybody has in their mind and kind of counter some of these stereotypes going on. My guest today, as you can see, he's up there already, is one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. Like, I don't know how to explain to you better, but everybody always talks about people in their circle and everybody not cheering for you, but this man cheers for everybody. And it's obviously, even when I started my podcast, was giving me pointers on the side and helping me share my stuff so I could get it out there, just so I could learn and get to the point that I'm at now. And obviously, I learn more every week and kind of go back and forth with my friends and with my people in my inner circle. That, I mean, now people that I consider my friends, they're just family. I don't know how to say it any different than that. But my guest today, if you're from Boston, you know him as this guy. Boom. Just look up at the sky. You'll see him on the billboard. Osa Retin Osazua. Is that it?
Thank you. Thanks for having me, man.
How's everything going, man?
It's cooling. So how you want to start this off?
So, I mean, basically, my introduction to you, I remember when I first met you, it was actually where I grew up. I was just playing basketball on the basketball court, and I was having conversations with you, and you asked me questions about random things, and then I don't think I saw you for 10 years after that, until I showed up to football practice, and I was like, the motherfucker, you the dude that I talked to that day. So I guess how we started off is kind of give me some background into your life, man. How, before you came here, where you're from, where your family's at, and what happened in that 10 years that I didn't see you until you was on the football team, and why you're on that damn billboard.
Well, primarily, I was born here in the U.S., and then once I started walking, my father decided to send me back home to learn more about the culture with my grandfather. 6 years later, came back to the U.S. in '96, around 9 years old. Mm-hmm. So from literally the age of 3 to 9, being raised in the culture of kind of respect your elders, respect your teachers, that sort of thing, and a total culture shock coming back here in the U.S. in the elementaries. You have kids jumping on tables and screaming "F you" to the teachers. I was like, what? I mean, it was definitely a culture shock from there. Even as I continue my life here in the U.S., it's just you guys are nuts. What do you think?
So where was back home?
Back home was Benin City, Nigeria.
Okay.
Um, I went to primary school, Ward of Faith. It's mainly like a Christian school. Um, it gives you a little bit of perspective on like education over there versus over here. I can remember as early as say like um, pretty much like the first grade versus here. Like we were literally talking about like the chicken anatomy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it was like that's kind of like different from here. Here you're still stuck on your one, two, threes and your ABCs,
For sure.
and it's like it was just like, what am I doing? Like pre-K stuff here still, you know. So it's like
Yeah.
it's just like kind of like weird to like get a step back, but yet you praise yourself as like the best in education, best in everything, but that's not necessarily true.
No, I mean, there's a documentary on YouTube. Well, it's not on YouTube. It was on Netflix for a while, but you can find it on YouTube now called "Waiting for Superman," and it says that the United States tests somewhere in the top 30 in education and number one in confidence. So, I mean, I'm sure Nigeria didn't test number one in confidence, but that's kind of where that comes about. You know, you tell everybody you're the best, but then, you know, we're basically taking doctors from all over the world to say that we're the
Right.
best, but those doctors are from all over the world. So we kind of disrespect the people that are smart in other places. I feel like the myth of what you have become and what you are is like you have people believing that you're somewhere in between the Black Panther and Akeem from Coming to America, and we don't know which one it is.
I am neither.
And then another thing I would say as far as the education is that when you go, depending on where you came, you know, in the city, because obviously Massachusetts is some of the best education in the United States. And then
Right.
even within Massachusetts, you have bad and good. Obviously, I went to Brookline High. That's different than, you know, going to, I'm not going to insult anybody's Boston school, but said enter shitty school. Right there, whichever one you choose to name.
I went to Hyde Park, you know, which is deemed like
Yes, put that right in there.
right. So it's like it's not so much as the teachers being bad. I mean, it was just like the funding and like the higher ups just making the wrong moves every single time. I mean, from student athletics to the curriculum, it was just mind blowing. Like, what are you doing? It's like this is not going to prep us for college. This is not. I mean, it's just like it's pretty much jail. It's like ran like a jail. It's like, all right, cell block 5, and you know everybody has to like, you know, file, and they like you have an overseer like just watching your every
Yeah, I mean
single.
that's basically what school is, because, and I say it all the time. You tell everybody to do the same thing, and you crush it down to a level where your creativity is getting attacked because they want you to do this. They want everybody to do this, and if you do that, then it's like, why'd you do that? Now you're in trouble. Do you still have a lot of family in Nigeria?
Yeah, I still do. I still have uncles and aunts in Nigeria. Same thing over here. You know, so it's kind of like even kill on both sides of the Atlantic.
I feel like, in my opinion, like there's a big disconnect between, you know, blacks in America and Africans. Do you have an idea of why that is, and do you experience that? Do you see that?
Yeah, I mean, like even in my younger years, I experienced that a lot. You know, so the misconception of like we don't have buildings or we don't have uh, hospitals or we live in huts, that sort of thing is just like, yeah, we have like the traditional side of things, you know, kind of showing the younger ones like, oh, this is how we used to do things back before, you know, the whole timeline got screwed up. But, you know, so it's like we pass that along, you know, we still have those things there, but that's just for like our cultural purposes, like where it came from, our history, you know. So it's kind of like mind-boggling to see, you know, folks over here thinking that that's how it is. Well, in retrospect, it's not. You can see like Nigerian movies now, kind of like showing you like the city and like
No, for sure. Yeah, I mean that. Well, but once again, that's still Nigerian movie. So like, before I made this beautiful shirt, I was gonna wear my other shirt that says "Darkest Africa" on it, and people always ask me, well, "What does that mean?" And I said, the shirt is based on a Looney Tunes band episode now, where they went to Africa, and it wasn't a country; it was just we're going to Africa, and there was just dark Africa, and then darkest dark Africa. So darkest Africa, then they go into it, and it's a bunch of big ass ladies trying to cook people in a pot with bones in their nose. So if you're a kid, that was Looney Tunes. That was Looney Tunes up to '97. So You're watching that symbolism that whole time, and then the next time you see Africa is like Sally Struthers telling you that you need to feed the poor kids there. So unless you fill in the blanks yourself, that is why most Americans believe that all is there is starving people and no money in huts, and don't believe that Egypt's in Africa, or Mali's in Africa, or Morocco's in Africa, or or that Ghana has money, or that Nigeria has money. Like, they don't believe that is that. But on the other side of things, I will say, like, what are some parents? Because obviously, Marshall, one of my best friends. His mom's stereotypes of African Americans were out of control. Like, if you had earrings, you were selling drugs. If you had a pager, you were selling drugs. If you had a cell phone, you were selling drugs. If you had drugs, you were selling drugs. So is there any like stereotypes that African parents have about coming here? Like, how like Asians will just straight change their name. No, your name's going to be this so you can survive in that culture. Is there anything like that?
In some parts, yes. As far as like my parents, they were always fearful of me joining a gang. And like, I can remember growing up, like I used to trade like Pokemon cards as a kid. It's like, oh, you're joining that gang, like, Mom,
the Pokemon gang.
So it was just like always that fear of, what she sees in the news, because Nigerian parents, again, CNN, boom, don't talk to them, don't say nothing.
Jigglypuff, bitch.
You better not sneeze the wrong way, So it's like, that's the misconception. Now they know what's going on since they've been here for a while now. So it's like, that stereotype kind of like washed away, and based on the policies that the black community has been facing up until now, till this day, is like criminal.
What was I going to say? So what in Africa did they teach? Well, specifically Nigeria, obviously, because I think we have this thing where we just say Africa as if that's the country, and even myself, It's hard for me to get out of it that there's so many countries there, so many different cultures, so many different ideas of what it is. You know what I'm saying? And it's unfair, but if I have to unteach myself just as everybody has to take those steps to unteach themselves about certain things. What do they teach about like the natives here in America? Because I know I talk a lot with Fink, and he's hell bent on the fact that the natives here are, black, which if you do the research, you know that to be true. But when you come here, what do they teach you about those natives, or what people would call Native Americans?
You would see, well, when I was going to school, they show us like the lighter version of Native Americans. They don't show us the original. They never show the original. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like a narrative to say, as you can see, the history goes on, the lighter the skin color of the original people of that land. You understand? So it's kind of like subliminal to say that, oh, Europeans were the originals in Africa, where that's not the case. Mm-hmm. Like in Nigeria, we learned of the tanned version, or the watered down version of the original people, if you will. And yeah, that's what I can remember as far as that.
Yeah, I mean, that obviously you went to a Christian school, so that's going to whitewash everything even that much more.
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, it's hard to challenge that. I often see that when you talk to people from different countries or from different continents, everybody's heroes are completely different. Like,
Absolutely.
here as Black Americans, people's heroes, you look at people like Martin, as like Malcolm and stuff like that. Who are those heroes that come out of Africa, and who comes to your mind? Or what do they tell you of in terms of history, and who are the heroes of whether it be Nigeria or Africa as a whole?
Well, as obviously you'd hear of like Desmond Tutu, Nelson Mandela's of the world as far as Africa is concerned, and but you go um, to Nigeria, you're talking about the civil war that nearly destroyed the country in itself and the soldiers who had a role in that. So those tend to be like kind of like I wouldn't say not talked about as much as the Martin Luther King or Malcolm X,
Mm-hmm.
because we as a people we tend not to like kind of like drag on the sentiment of war as much.
Yeah.
Although my people are mainly like the militants um, of of the nation, coming from Edo. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you have a militant like we are. If you step into my household, is like literally a structure. Mother and father respected. Their word is final.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no um, going against that. So it's like okay, you will go to medical school or be an engineer or be or a lawyer. So me studying accounting, I'm pretty much the black sheep of my family, holding three different finance degrees. So you can really take your mind and take your imagination wherever it goes with that one.
Oh, for
Um,
sure.
yeah,
The what about like Mansa Musa?
Mansa Musa. They I don't remember them talking much about him, really. To be
Yeah.
honest with you, they really don't talk. They'll mention it here and there. They'll mention like the kings of other surrounding countries, and that's pretty much it.
That's
Like
great.
none really stands out as much because like when I went to school at a young age, kind of like remembering now is just like we delved heavy deep in the math, the science,
Mm-hmm.
um, kind of like a social environment, and this was like equivalents to like your second to third grade growing up. So it it takes me back, kind of remembering now. It's like wow, education wasn't so bad in Nigeria after
No, I
all.
mean you're right. I guess there's going to be gaps in everything, but obviously depending on the school, because if you're a Christian school and you're going to talk about the values and the kings of Egypt and of Mansa Musa, who was essentially an adoption of what is modern Islam and ancient Egyptian beliefs, is obviously going to be a little counterproductive when it comes to a Christian school.
Right.
What movie in America do you think that kind of captures African culture the best? An American movie?
Whew. Um.
Because I know you see the movies where people are like, oh, that accent's terrible. This motherfucker sounds like that, and that's what's like. But I mean, that's just more of a realistic, visual than a bunch of huts and starving kids.
I would say a small hint of Coming to America and um, Black Panther, in the sense of kind of like the mutual respect and how we interact. Kind of like the scene where T'Challa is talking to Shuri in the lab, and her recording him like falling down on the floor, because that kind of reminded me of me and my younger sister, Uwa,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like going back and forth, like you better not post that, you better not take a
Yeah,
picture
yeah,
of,
yeah.
like pulling pranks on one another. So I'll say a little bit of that as well.
Yeah, because it's almost. I see what you're saying. It's almost like everything else kind of dehumanizes
Right.
what you are. Like everything's got to be so strict or this or that, and that kind of plays to the lighter side of humanism. Guess what? We have fucking fun too. We do this, we do that. I see what you're saying. So I mean, what impact did like, because I love the movie Black Panther, and what impact did that movie have on you? And as far as like your relatives back in Africa, did it affect them the same way? Did they enjoy it as much as people here?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, especially when they got the culture aspects of different African nations. So you went to South Africa, you spoke Swahili. You went to like the museum, you saw the artifacts of Benin culture.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw that, I lost my mind in the theater. I was like, they got it right. I was like, holy shit, this is me, y'all. This is me. Everybody's like, I mean, like, you get ecstatic when somebody actually gets your story right.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, so it's like, so it's not like your typical, I'm gonna kill a zebra, wear the wear the skin on me and stroll around. It was like, come on.
For sure.
Man.
I mean, once it's like that. Like when people talk about now, oh, the looters. It's like you're talking about the smallest percentage of what it is, but you've taken that and turned it into an entire continent for some reason, right. and act like parts of it don't even exist in that continent. So I mean, basically, in your experience, like dead serious, you're one of the nicest people I've ever met. Do you encounter a lot like of racism in the United States? And when you do, I guess it's a two-part question. Is it more like, oh, you're African, or is it more like, oh, it's your skin color? So when people do, I assume when you were younger, it's more African, but like where you are now, I guess, tell me like the latest story of something that's happened, if it has.
Okay. Pretty much I was trying to get like tax lien information, right? So like the processing and how to obtain these tax lien certificates. So go to the clerk's office, I proceed to say, hi, my name is Osa. I would like to learn more about tax liens. So, they kept on beating around the bush. I was literally there for 3 hours.
I believe that with you. I would last about 3 minutes.
So it's like, it's like, wow. I mean, like, come on, City Hall. It's like, I know Massachusetts does this. Like, I'm in the right department. It's literally on the board, like in black and white letters. It's like, hey, come see us if you want tax lien information. So I'm asking about them. They're like, oh, we usually don't do that. We can't give you the listing, this, that, and the third. I'm like, okay, but this is public record. So, I mean, like, what steps do I need to do? Do I need to get a license of some sort? It's like, oh no, but
coronavirus.
Not yet. Right. So it's like, I'm looking at this. I'm like, huh. It's like, I see what's going on now. So, a tax lien lawyer literally stepped out and told me about the process. It's like, with this, you need to obtain the information about the property you're looking at, pay pretty much their taxes, their property taxes. So in case the owner wants to keep their house, they have to pay you back, but have it on public record.
Okay.
So that you have proof of you paying that property tax. And then on top of that, depending on how long they let it become their payment become delinquent, you get a certain percentage out of it. I think in Massachusetts it's like 16%. So once all this is said and done, I'll revisit that. But yeah, that's definitely one of the times I've experienced.
And that I completely get that, because that's like the most nondescript, that people act like, oh, they do that to everybody, and you're like, no, I saw what happened, because depending on how you look, depending on how they perceive you, I always say that no matter what protocols you put in place, if it's humans there, then you're giving the opportunity for human error. For instance, like people will say, I get pulled over by the police too, and it's like, yeah, but if you get a warning and I get a ticket, depending on where my financial situation is at that time, and especially in Massachusetts, now your fucking insurance doesn't go up. My insurance does go up. And then you end up creating a gap like this over time, and you do get hurt by it, but people don't realize it because you're not paying attention to before. Like, oh, that's what it was. What are the most common misconceptions, about Nigeria and about Africa in general that you would like to clear up? I know you kind of touched on a little bit of them, but like the biggest stereotypes right off the bat.
Pretty much that we all run scams. That's the one I can think of right now.
Oh, like the Nigerian scam?
Yeah, I mean, like each time I see that, it's like, why, why would you give that boy some money? Like, like literally, it's like in bold, like, please send money. Like,
I mean, the thing is, so it like. I've seen a bunch of people run like those type of scams throughout the world and know them personally. So it's like you look at those situations, and I guess from the beginning when the internet first started, it's like, oh shit, this might be for real. But now it's like, I guess you get a couple old people out every now and then that are just like, yeah, I'm trying to win, and they already got money anyway. So you never know what it is. But like, I guess, yeah, that's almost synonymous in America. People hear Nigeria and they're like, oh, are you a prince that's got $75 trillion that you want to send me?
Like, not everybody is a prince in Nigeria. I'm sorry. Just a select few. But yeah, but for the most part, it's like education is like number one with us, and using what you learn. Mm-hmm. Is right up there. It's like you must have a skill. You must have kind of like a projected goal on what you want to do in life. For me, is to pretty much master and fully understand the whole world of finance. Whether it's accounting, whether it's stocks, whether it's cryptocurrency. Whether it's steps on building equity and kind of like growing that family dynamic from the ground up.
For sure, yeah. I mean, I think one of my friends, well, not one of my friends, one of my app developers is actually in Nigeria, and he knows a shitload about everything. Like, I thought I had lost one of my cryptocurrencies one time, and he's like, "No, you have to do this, 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 and this," and I was like, damn, I thought you were just the app guy. You just jumped over and cryptocurrency advisor too that fast? Yeah. I was like, shit, this motherfucker knows everything. How do people in Nigeria or other African nations that are closer speak of Egypt? Because it's almost like people think it's not in Africa, especially here in America. And I don't know if they speak of it to the history of the continent as we do of certain places here in America, but what were you taught about it when you were there?
Egypt. Like, well, for me, it wasn't so much like highly mentioned or highly praised. It was just like another African, country. It's also like it wasn't like really special to us per se. It's like, oh my God, you gotta visit Egypt.
It's only one of the 7 wonders of the world.
Right. So it wasn't like, it was like, okay, it's like it's like we actually do the same thing everywhere else. So I don't know what you're talking about. Even in Nigeria, like the Great Wall of Benin, there's still chunks of it like all around Nigeria. You talk about various kingdoms in Nigeria itself.
Yep.
You talk about Hausa. You talk about the Edo kingdom itself. You talk about the Yoruba and kind of like the relation to the Edo. I mean, it's a long history. I'm sure I'm missing like another 100.
No, I mean, yeah, of course, yeah. We're all gonna forget about something when it comes down to those type of things. But obviously, and it's like it's weird to me that they don't mention it. But when you have all that history there and you're that rich in history, I guess it's like, yeah, we have all this history here as well. So it's almost like a fight for history. But I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, because you know what I'm saying.
It's a good thing because it's just like to give most Americans perspective. Is like, okay, here in Boston, right? I mean, from you say from Hyde Park all the way to downtown. There's certain levels of history as you go down to go down to downtown. But from Benin City all the way to like 4 hours to Lagos, there's history right there. There's like centuries worth of history.
Of course.
Right there. So it's like from war to peace treaty to different trades or different resources that we have or discovered over those years. I mean, by the time we get to Egypt, we're like 18 years of age right now. So just to learn all of that. So, I mean,
sure.
Egypt wasn't like really high on the list. Most of us, we knew about before Egypt, the time before Egypt. It was called Egypt.
Like Kemet?
So it's like, for me, it's like, yeah, I can go down my family history and say, oh, Uncle so-and-so was from Kemet.
Yeah.
A modern day Algeria, or even in Central Africa, you have different branches of the family and different family history all over Africa. And I just found, like, a few years ago, I just found out I have some family in Japan, so it's like when you go and understand your family history itself.
When you learn it the right way, everything can change. I mean, and I didn't even touch on this, but when you say that education is at a higher level, I mean, the oldest university in the world is in Morocco. It's been there before any other country, any other place had a university. And it's still there today. The longest active university sits there in Morocco. And before that, there was also a university built in Mali with Mansa Musa and the Moors.
Well, absolutely.
Before they went and conquered Spain for 400 years. Have you seen this clip of a movie where this dude slides across the floor for like 10 minutes and shoots a bullet in slow motion at other people? And it's an African movie?
No, I have not.
Well, you're about to. Hold on 1 second. Because I got it up right here if you can see the screen. And I want your opinion of it because I wanted to know if it's like...
Oh my goodness. I love every minute of that. I love it. Oh my god. Please, where can I find this? This is amazing.
What happened to that guy?
The gun jam.
Yeah, that right there? What's that?
I have no idea what that is. What?
So, I'll send you that movie later. But all I'm saying is
that ketchup on the floor, man?
Listen, it might be. But all I'm saying is when you see stuff like this, do you see it like in America when I see some shit and I just go, oh, them niggas is from Florida? Can you look at this and go, because this says African action movie. I don't know where it is, but can you just look at this and go, that looks like some Ghana production?
I hate you because that's what. No, I don't know. I wouldn't say that, but I don't know where exactly that is. I mean, they had the whole living room set up. Kudos to them.
Is that a specific design to a country? I'm saying.
No.
Is that a Nigerian movie? I gotta know right now.
It may be.
Let me find out, man. Let me find out you had something to do with this shit.
Look, I have nothing to do with that. Look at my YouTube channel. I have nothing to affect. It's Just draw and work out. That's it.
But listen, did you see the way my man slid across the floor?
Oh my god! It's like somebody took a mouse and just dragged.
that is what happened. That is what, somebody in comments said that's 100% Nigerian. You can't get away from that. You can't blame that shit on Florida.
Yeah.
So
maybe place in Africa. I don't know.
What do you think the best advice to give to a young minority in the United States is?
Focus on building equity. Ownership is definitely a must, and it's going to be tough, but it's not impossible. You have to have the mindset of kind of persevering and kind of building your own portfolio. In the retrospect of kind of like from owning your own home, owning your own business, whether it's starting off selling T-shirts 2 for $10, start something. You want to get that cash flow, and if you're able to go to a big name university full ride, go for it. If not, double back, go to community college, use that knowledge to the best of your ability, and just going back to RCC, which is considered the worst college.
I mean, I went to RCC, and I'll cut you off and just say before you even finish, like I have friends that have master's degrees from accredited schools that are known as the biggest things that aren't really doing much different than somebody who didn't go to college at all. And I have friends that went to RCC that own a bunch of shit and own a bunch of property. So as long as you have the credits of school behind you, you got to take into account the amount of connections you're going to need and how to take advantage of those connections. Because you see a lot of, like, especially younger blacks say or teach shit like, don't trust anybody. And I'm like, then you're not going anywhere. You can only go so far when you get to a certain point, and without trusting anybody. That shit just makes no sense. But I mean, if we educate everybody to those type of things and get everybody on board, then a lot can change as far as your logic when it comes to growing the right way and what school you go to. Because everybody starts, I'm going to go to this school because of this name, and then they get out and they still don't know what the fuck they're supposed to do. And that has to do with the age, in America at least, because it's like you said, by the time you goddamn out of college in Nigeria, you might already get, be a doctor or some shit. But over here, it's almost like now college is just looked at for like, I'm going to go there and have fun. And even while you're there, it's such a surface teaching that it's not the same as if somebody said, we want you to do this shit. You're here to do this shit. You're working in this shit. You're learning it. This is the way that the jobs are set up. And some professors go above and beyond that and teach you that. But some of them are just there to go, okay, here's the information. You got to do whatever the fuck you want with it. And by the time you're figuring it out, you might have 2 kids and you can't take the risks that you want to take. Like I run into a lot of younger kids and they're like, oh, what can I do? And I'm like, you can fucking do anything.
Yes.
But you just want somebody to like tell you that it's going to be okay. And I can't tell you that. All I can tell you that is to try, and whatever happens at that point. But for the most part, you'll learn something that the next time you try it, you'll be more successful at it. How many countries in Africa have you been to?
I've been to Ghana, Nigeria, obviously. I'll say just those 2.
Okay.
Those 2. We literally stayed in the Republic of Benin for like a few days, and that's just about it. But I wouldn't really count that as like staying.
Yeah. How many countries as a whole?
In Africa?
And the world?
Costa Rica. Canada, obviously.
Why is that obvious? I haven't been to Canada.
Really?
No.
You've been to like.
Listen, man. I don't know. It's on the list. I want to go to Toronto.
Very, very fun place. Very chill. It's like a polite version of the USA.
It's supposed to be the most diverse place in the world. Toronto.
It is. I saw like a lot of Jamaicans, a lot of Asian stuff. It's just like boom. Like you normally don't see those two like in the same sitting. You like go to Chinatown, you go to here, you'd see them, but it's just like everybody's just.
Well, because you just said Asians, I was gonna save this for last, but I'll post it right now. See that guy right there?
That is foolishness.
He just got, I guess, became a chief in Africa.
Really?
Really? What do you think about that?
I don't know what to think about that.
They in South Africa they put Mandarin in the school system, so they teach it pretty heavily now. But
that's in South Africa?
Yeah.
Wow.
So obviously there's a lot of Chinese influence of money there, but I didn't know it was to the point where motherfuckers was becoming chiefs. And actually, I didn't see this article. Just came out like 3 days ago, and I saw it while I was writing the questions, and I was like, "Oh shit, what the fuck is going on?"
I never knew that.
Yeah, for real. So as far as I guess since you've only been to Ghana and Nigeria, if somebody was to go to Nigeria and it was like, "Hey, what do you think the number one city they should go visit as far as being able to immediately grasp the culture that you want somebody to kind of understand more about you and Nigerian culture?"
Obviously go to Edo State, GRA area, because you have like the kind of in between the city and country life. Country as in far as like kind of like the setup of like more farming. You'll see cattle. And then the other side of town, you'll see like the cities.
What's the name of it?
Edo State.
How do you spell that?
EDO. State.
Oh, okay.
Kind of
that wasn't that obvious. EDO. I might have thrown a T in there or some shit.
You want to go to Abuja, big city. Life, kind of more of like a corporate setting, and then Lagos, more of a kind of like, I'll describe it as a more responsible Las Vegas. So
yeah, when I see the sky shots of Legos, that shit looks crazy. I'm like, I gotta go there. Some of the buildings that I see there, I'm like, man.
Yeah.
So that definitely looks legit. If you could travel anywhere tomorrow in the world, where would it be? Actually, just anywhere tomorrow.
I always wanted to try to go to Japan.
Okay.
Japan.
That's what it would be. Why Japan?
Just to kind of learn more about the martial art culture there. Because it's been a while since like I've practiced karate and judo. So just kind of like go there and see how like it's actually done.
You mean how it moved to the next level from when Africans taught it to them? That must be what you mean, because the first samurai was a black person, African more.
No, I'm just saying like their style, their style and like their mindset on it, because I have like these various versions coming at me, just looking at media, movies, and things of that nature. I just want to see for myself, like firsthand, like touching down Japan and see like how they go about it.
What's
trust me.
Go ahead.
I was like, trust me, there's martial arts in in Nigeria as well.
Oh, I'm sure. That's why I said started in North Africa.
Right.
What is what's the favorite country, your favorite country that you've been to so far? Obviously not Nigeria, but other than that.
Other than Nigeria, Costa Rica.
Okay.
I had a good time there.
You hear that, Ralph? There's your answer and your invite.
It was just kind of like a surreal experience, just kind of like breaking out, being cooped up in the USA for a long period of time, and then just going to Costa Rica for the first time ever. It's like, wow, this is amazing. You know, you have a different perspective on life and a different experience, if you will,
Yeah.
on somebody else's culture. You know, Pura Vida. You know, when I was running that early morning, like an elder stopped me and said, "Oh yeah," you know, kind of congratulate me in my like while I'm running. Like that never happened before. You know, so it's like mainly I get these stanar looks from cops, like, yeah, let him go. We can't catch him anyway. But you know, so it's like somebody like stopping you and congratulating you. And it's like, oh, wow, I never experienced that. You know, so kind of like a nice feeling from being looked at as a criminal for doing the simplest things as running in the morning.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
I'm at Arbery.
right. So
um, yeah, I know a cop in Boston that can catch you. I know a cop in Boston that can catch anybody. He's the Northeastern 200-meter record holder.
200 meters. Yeah.
Now we ain't talking about your 500-mile runs. I'm talking about if he sees you run past the stoop, you ain't getting too far.
I mean, 200 meters. Okay, he got that record holder. He got that. I mean, probably zigzag for like three.
Yo, he ain't a crocodile, motherfucker. That ain't gonna work. For me, as far as the travel, it'd be two places. One of them would be Antarctica, which people always say you're crazy. Oh, you want to go there? Because nobody's ever been there. The other place would be Mars. That's why I changed it to not in the world, because I want to see shit that nobody's seen before, and nobody knows what to do with that.
Never really thought of that. Mars.
Yeah, just something completely different than what people think is completely different. Obviously, Antarctica is like $10,000 a person, and it's out of Argentina on a cruise, and you have to have the permission of the Russian and the United States government for some reason. So it's down the road, but I guess the most closest one would be Egypt, and because I do have a little bit of family there, so I would kind of get into that culture and look at certain things there that to me are just completely unexplainable. So I have to see them with my own eyes. How do we kind of reconnect that Africans and blacks in America in terms of being on the same page? What do you think the first step in doing that would be?
Is kind of understanding the pretty much like culture and family dynamic. The reason why I say that is if you see and understand like how a household is run or understand their way of life, you would say, okay, it's not what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Gain another perspective, you gain understanding. So that common ground will say, okay, we see why this is this way over here,
Mm-hmm.
based on the policies of the nation, based on the constant discrimination in every aspect, whether it's buying ice cream, whether it's walking on the sidewalk, whether it's taking public transportation, whether it's going to school or going to the bank or looking at a house.
I mean, basically in Nigeria, is there a certain type of like colorism, racism, or tribalism that's there where like a cop would give you that type of, wait a minute, you're from here or there?
No, not to the extent of the U.S. No,
Yeah, I don't think anywhere is to the extent of the U.S.
I mean, it's like, yeah, we made like little jokes here and there about each other, but it's never to the extent where somebody's losing their life. It's not to the extent that somebody's losing their livelihood because of where they come from.
Mm-hmm.
Understand? There may be some disputes here and there, but to that extent, no. You know, so it's like say the only thing I can think of, if a cop pulls you over, it may be a corrupt cop and all they want is money. They're not going to take your life. It's like, hey, I need
Yeah,
to learn.
yeah, yeah. I wish that was here right now.
I mean,
I'm like, just take the money. Shit, don't kill me.
right. So it's not whereas over here is, oh, I'm gonna take your life because your skin is darker than mine. That's a whole different ball game. It's like, yeah, I can't change that. It's like, you're as good as done.
I mean, I say it a lot, and it's a bit. The symbolism is everything. You know, if they watched more movies like the clip that I showed earlier, they'd see that I'm just sliding across the floor just like you, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But when you making everybody look like we all killers all the time, then that's kind of what messes with those issues.
I mean, like clearly you can see that we're not killers. Like, from that clip, I mean, like we ain't out here to kill anybody.
Unless they kill in a horribly colored leather couch, then yes, I get that.
Yeah.
But where do you find yourself in this current social climate? Like, are you marching, or kind of what are you doing to make that change? And how do you currently feel about like what you're doing?
For me, it's mainly trying to understand the whole landscape of politics in itself, and who writes these policies, and kind of like, I wouldn't say infiltrate, but kind of go into or gain a position or learn more about why these policies still stand. So it's like,
I mean, I can give you an easy one. Marijuana. Anybody that I've ever encountered, we're talking about over 75% of people that don't care if it's legal or not. But it still is not passed.
Look, the thing about marijuana is people shouldn't have been incarcerated. People shouldn't have died because of it. The reason being, it's an herb. It makes you feel funny, but after that's gone, you're back to normal. Whereas as alcohol leaves a mark in you. Like, if you abuse it,
oh yeah,
you're drinking it by the gallon, you're going to die.
if you quit cold turkey, you can die. Same thing with Xanax. Same thing with prescriptions. So that's what I'm saying. At this point, where we're calling ourselves a free country, we have more than 75% of people that don't care whether it's legal or not. But yet you still have such an old amount of people and an old mindset that's representing people that don't have anything in common with the people that are putting the laws in place. Have you seen the 13th?
No, I haven't.
On Netflix? Yeah, watch that today, because it talks about how they do develop some of these laws and how they come about and how they influence. So that would give you the idea of how you'd start to infiltrate those laws.
I think I've heard like lobbyists and connection between lobbyists and pharmaceuticals.
Oh yeah, unquestionably.
It's like, so like when I was looking at the stocks on marijuana companies, and like I'm like, why are they getting pushed back? I mean, like this is over $1 trillion worth of revenue. I mean, like look at the way they're taxing this thing. It's like 30, 40, 55%.
Yeah.
On like a little bag. I mean, it's like, okay. So I look at pharmaceuticals and nothing's being touched over there, and these things have major side effects. I mean, what's worse than death? Like, come on. It's like,
yeah, there is. I mean, there is no death. Is not a side effect of marijuana. Nobody's ever died from it. So that's a whole nother situation from, you're right. I mean, but I guess the trust of these doctors is like, my doctor told me that it's fine, so it's fine. And that's why I hate, it's almost like a 50-50 argument for me where people go, oh, everybody on Facebook's a doctor. And my logic behind it is like, I've had a doctor pull up a fucking tablet in front of me to look at what medication he was supposed to prescribe me for a certain thing. It's like, I can do that shit. I'm smart enough to do that shit for myself. I know a lot about medications. So it's not like I'm arguing out of my ass. Like, I will argue with a doctor just as well as I'll argue with a lawyer, because guess what? They're still fucking humans too. And they might be wrong. Everybody can be wrong. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, when you rest the weight of the world on the opinion of one person or your life without getting other opinions, it's almost like people feel like because, and it goes back to that same respect thing, because of the doctor name, that it's almost insulting to that doctor for you to go talk to another doctor, even though your life's in the balance.
Right.
Which is crazy.
It should never be that. Even like, say like stocks, I may say, oh, Nike's the best sneaker stock to invest in, but I could be wrong. There's Adidas. There's Skechers out there, of the world. And like, that may not be the best for your portfolio or your strategy, so it's like, I can't just say what it pertains to me and what I like, but
for sure,
best
I've never seen a doctor researching medication as much as people that are selling medication go to him. Like, people walk into doctor's office and be like, hey, I got this new drug and this is what it is and we want to explain it to you. Instead of them going, you know what, I kind of like the idea of this, let me go research it and bring it into my place. So it's like exactly what you're saying. If all you fucking know is Nike, then all you're going to be able to tell me is Nike.
Right.
and that's what it comes down to. 3 more questions. Get ready.
Indeed.
First one being, what do you wish people knew about you before they start assuming shit?
That's a really good one. That's a really good one. I can't, I have my mind is just racing right now.
Well, for me personally, I'll tell you while you think about it, so you can kind of hit off maybe some of the points that I make.
Okay.
The immediate ones for me is that I do care about people, that I'm funny, and that I'm not fucking angry. My face, I can't control it. I do get angry as everybody else does, but it's like, true. Don't assume that beforehand, because now I have to kick down a force field that I don't see, because you assumed that I'm not this person, but I'm way more that person than kind of what you think. And it affects me in all types of places, whether, in a workplace or interacting with people that they just assume right off the bat that I'm confrontational, and they don't step back and look at it. Because every confrontation that I have, I step back and go, okay, well, could I have said it like this or done it like this? And then if I see that there was no option for me to prove this at that point, because they didn't give me the option, then it's like, what the fuck am I supposed to do?
Right. I would say, I'll say the same thing.
That's cheating. You can't say the same thing. God damn it.
No, because really, sometimes I would think about, my mind would wander off to somewhere else, and I'll think hard and in my quiet corner, and people are like, damn, he must be angry about something. But no, I'm actually thinking about what subject to study next, or what am I going to do the next day. It's like, am I going to run before lifting? Am I something like that. But I'll say a little bit, I wouldn't say study or learn about my culture, because that's a lot to grasp. But
that's impossible. Look, somebody walks up to you, they don't know you're Nigerian. They're just like, look at this motherfucker with this beard.
That's why I got to step back a little
because
bit.
I think when I talk, it's very brash, it's very harsh to most people, and it's very matter of fact. So everybody's like, this fucking asshole, from the outside, look at him, the way he's talking. But your tone of voice is a lot easier. So I think that when you start talking, people go, oh, okay, he's not one of those.
No, I'm not one of those. But it's when I hear you talk, it's just I'm hearing you being factual, you standing your ground, you going straight to the point, not being around the bush, and that's cool. I can rock with this guy. He's a cool guy.
No, I mean, to the people that can deal with it, I get along with them all. But the people that don't ever mention it and they just they're still there. Why are you still here? If it affects you that much, why do you still want to be here? Why do you still want to see these statuses? Why do you still want to, hear this type of shit when you're building up some underground resentment that I don't even know you have? Because that can all be talked out at any given time. And trust me,
easily.
I want you to win, whether you know it or not. I do. You know what I'm saying? I want everybody to win. There's no point in me cheering against somebody for something so fucking stupid.
That's wasting. That's a waste of energy. First off, because you have one life to live. Why waste it on something so unnecessary that can be solved in 2 seconds?
Yeah.
You know,
people,
like why do it?
People extend it for the longest periods of time, and you don't even know because they don't want to express it, but they got these faces on and they want you to slip, and then when you find out, yeah, I told you this was gonna happen, but it's like, I remember somebody was making fun. I had this like line in my hair, and I went to work because I was cutting my own hair, and I still had a line, and it was like 3 people at my job. Oh, look at this motherfucker with the line in the hair, and I turned around and I said, I never fucking said I was perfect. I can fucking not cut my hair sometimes. It happens. You know what I'm saying?
You can't see the back of your head. You know? So
I'm like, I get it. It's funny for y'all. Y'all think that I like say I'm perfect everywhere and I can't make mistakes, but I'm like, I certainly can. I can still laugh at my shit too. Right. It is what it is. You know, we're here to have fun and enjoy life.
Fuck the Mad Max.
Exactly.
Like, okay.
What is one of your biggest goals that you feel that you're close to achieving?
Acquiring property and starting a family.
Hey, okay.
Yeah.
I like it. I mean, like you said it, ownership is the number one thing that I tell the young kids, because once you see some of these kids that have, you know, their grandmothers had property forever and they were sniffing cocaine at 12 and went to jail, but then they get out and their grandmother gives them a property, they can just turn their life around immediately. I've seen it happen a million times. It's like, oh, grandma left me a house and now I'm just right back on my feet. And when I tell minorities that, it's like, grandma ain't leaving you a house, but you certainly can set it up to where you have something for their family. Like I was telling my daughter the other day, we have a whole other half of a property right now that's a lot that you can get your credit in order and put a fucking house right on it if you want. And that's one of those biggest things where it's like, this is here for you. Now you have to take the steps further to make that shit come, you know, to fruition.
And that right there is pretty much the best way to go about it. You know, for me right now is like I legit have a stock account, literally labeled baby. Mm-hmm. Literally already, like I already started that.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like having that passively grow until the day that child is born. Boom.
So somebody in the comments said half this 1,000 Nigerian friends have voluptuous Caucasian wives. Is that an option for you?
No, that is not an option for me.
He was born here, so he doesn't need that, Ralph.
Oh my god.
So my last question, this is completely it's random as fuck, but I was reading about somebody. I was listening to an interview with Kanye and Nick Cannon the other day, and he was talking about Forbes, and he was like, Forbes was purposely not putting him in the top 100 or reporting his income the right way for like 5 years, and I don't like Forbes at all. I never have, but I guess the question is, have you ever subscribed to specific magazines? Because I've only subscribed to 2 in my life, and one of them was called Sport Magazine. It came out around the time of ESPN. I loved it. It was just better packaged and the information was perfect. And the other one was called Business 2.0. And Business 2.0 was one of the best magazines I've ever seen in my life. It talked about future ideas and future things that were going forward. And then after I subscribed to it, 4 months later, it got bought by Forbes. And they were like, here, you're going to get Forbes for the rest of the year. And I never fucking read it again. There's things that I saw in that magazine, Business 2.0, almost 18 years ago that I still have not seen now. Like one of them was a coffee cup that the lid changes colors when it's safe to drink. I haven't seen it to this day. Yeah, it's still there. The company's in Australia. I could go and find it again, but I'm like, I don't know how this didn't take off. And the other one, which we're kind of getting to now because people are doing it in a phone, was it was a credit card wallet that you put all your cards in it, and you just RFID the top of it, and it represents whatever card you want to use in your wallet. And I think that is kind of coming now. And then obviously you have like Apple Pay and stuff like that. But as far as you, have you ran into any that you like are like, oh, I need to read this magazine all the time?
well, I didn't subscribe to Wall Street Journal. Like, kind of like had it laying around at my
Oh,
job.
Nigerian hustle. Oh shit.
Right. So so like I dabbled in like kind of like in the beginning when I started to learn more about stocks and kind of like do my little reading comprehension on what was announced and go back to the drawing board and say, okay, I'm investing this, this, and this because of what they announced and their balance sheet and their cash flow. So I would say Wall Street Journal and The Economist,
Okay.
a magazine. I haven't, I stopped subscribing them like for years now, but those are like the only main two good reads that I literally had subscribed to back in like 2014.
So, I guess before we finish up, you could tell me the story of how you ended up on that goddamn billboard. And for people that are just joining in now, I'm talking about this, that right there. What's the story behind that?
The story behind that is pretty much like I didn't start my college career there. I started it at Benjamin Franklin.
Okay.
So when the collapse in '08 was in full effect, it's like scholarships got pulled. Um, I couldn't even get a loan to go to Ben Franklin at the time, where it was like private institution at the time. So it's like, dang. So I couldn't really afford school like wholeheartedly. So financial aid like literally wasn't there. So that wasn't even an option for me. So I went to RCC. So I took like one or two classes per semester, as much as I can afford, until 2016. So I finished with accountant certificate at first, and then look back at kind of like the business major, like all the business majors.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, let me get business management, accounting, and business administration. So I literally went back and started taking all of the courses that I want to take. So now, I had the stock thing going before I went back to school, and now to fully understand that aspect of finance.
You had to be on the billboard.
Yeah. No, it was one of the visual visual aides who came up to me and was like, "Hey, you want to sign this waiver to have your license?" I was like, "Sure, why not?" I didn't think nothing of it. I didn't think they would actually go through with it because people would ask me, "Hey, would you?"
Yeah, people say shit all the time.
Right. So like, I just like, "Hey, sure, why not? It's school related. I'm not doing anything bad. It's not incriminating. Sure, why not?" So I did that, thinking nothing of it, and the phones starting to, yo, billboard, man. I see you. Like, what do you mean? I see you in East Boston, man, smiling and grinning and everything, man. I was like, old friends that I haven't spoke to like since elementary. It's like, oh, congratulations, man. I'm like, huh? I'm like, how did you know? It's like, yeah, I saw you on the billboard.
Shit.
It's a
Matter of
blessing.
fact, somebody said to me, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have Osa on. They was like, Osa from the billboards. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And he was like, he's on billboards. I was like, I need a picture of that shit. Send it to me.
Right.
So then I definitely got the picture. So you coming with us to Egypt?
I wouldn't say definite. Depends on what time. I mean, like, I have a slew of things that I have to get straightened out first.
Yeah, me
But
too.
I'm
But I
sure.
know it's happening. It's happening.
Yeah.
I mean, it probably would have been this year, but after coronavirus, like,
Yeah.
moving Costa Rica to November, we'll have to see how everything plays out and go there and get that culture experience as we do go there. As far as your YouTube channel, I don't know if it has a specific name, but
No, it's just
definitely
my
shout
name.
it out. Let people know kind of what it's all about and what you're looking to achieve with that page?
Oh, the channel is Osazua. So the first three letters of my first name and my last name, as you see here. It's about art. I'm learning about art and fitness.
Yep.
So my regular workout routines, not just running, but kind of like the lifting aspect of my workouts.
I mean, even
So
you know what would be a great idea, because when you get that financial thing down, is to add, because I talk about this a lot, just a simple, W-2 filing. Because people seem to think that they have to go, to like H&R Block or to TurboTax no matter what. And I think just you taking a simple W-2 and doing like something like that, a little small video like that, will kind of give, especially the young minorities an intro. I filed my own taxes since I was 15. So, and now I'm doing, filing business taxes and my regular W-2 stuff at the same time. So it's a little bit more complicated. But as far as like a simple, like my daughter was like, I have to find out how to file taxes. And I was like, just log on to one of the sites and fucking comes back to me 8 minutes later. She's like, oh, okay, it's done. I'm like, yeah, see what happens when you try? So yeah, definitely set up a video like that. But like he said, his first three letters of first name, last name is his channel. Definitely like it. Definitely subscribe to my shit. And when you go and watch the videos on YouTube, like them, comment, Imperfect audio.
Smash that like button.
Exactly. Smash that like button for both of us, man. Because I'm so tired of hearing this. I don't really like shit on Facebook. And I'm like, well, I don't really like you. But I still like your shit. Just to make sure that you win. Because I need your help to fucking do it. Like, I don't understand.
Right. I mean, it's just a simple thing of just clicking that share button, clicking that like button, and just watching it. You don't even have to watch it. Just press play and walk away from it. That's that's mainly it. Three things. Three simple things.
Dom just said, I think Ray's trying to take my tax business away. I think sorry, Dom. I think the Tropic Bowl page would beg to differ, considering the whole business is up there, and I still got my video out there shouting you out. So stop that. Stop that right now. But Osa,
shout out to Dom.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you, my friend, for clearing up some African misconceptions. Thank you for all the support, and thank you for being just a great individual, man. And good luck with everything.
Buy this shirt.
Buy that shirt. No, we got the new one coming up soon. The new FTL sets next week, so look out for them. I'll put them out there.
You know I need that.
Maybe. I don't know, man.
I need that. I need that.
I
think it will go with my running shoes.
You a whole different size than last time. You might be an extra medium now, man. I don't even know what you did. But, man, have a great day. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Share the video. I'll have it up on Spotify and YouTube. Spotify today, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts today. YouTube will probably be tomorrow because this shit's going to take like 16 hours to upload or whatever. But have a great day, everybody. Have a great weekend. Osa, thank you, my man.
No problem. Anytime. Thanks for having me.